doesn't even have to work out. He just jumps on a motorcycle and just goes, and he's the best. He can outmaneuver anybody on the racetrack anywhere. I think really the advantage I have to Kelly is I'm a better starter than Kelly. Other than that, he's a hard one to beat.
And here they are, the best the United States has to offer, settling an impromptu best-of-3 match race series. The blue helmet, that is Kelly Moran. On the inside, on the pole with the white helmet is Bobby Schwartz. And let's see if Schwartz gets a better start.
Oh, and Bobby Schwartz made an amazing start to that first corner. Kelly Moran jumps back underneath him. Just seems to spin all the way down that straightaway. Kelly is pushing Bobby Schwartz hard. Bobby's using all the racetrack there, and he sends the door on Bobby and puts him out towards the fence seat.
Earlier, we called this a ballet on dirt. Well, that's exactly what it's proven to be. As they come around the final corner, headed for the checkered flag, wheel in the air, Kelly Moran wins it. Unbelievable.
That's why they call Kelly Moran the miracle worker. He's probably got the best balance on the motorcycle I've ever seen, Steve.
And he has got his pride in his pocket, too, Bruce. Kelly Moran, the man who gives gravity a bad name. And Bruce, we've got to look at that again. I don't even believe what I saw, how he can possibly control that motorcycle standing on end.
You can see Kelly Moran on one wheel from one side of the motorcycle to the other. An unbelievable wheelie, crossing the finish line a half a bike length in front of Bobby Schwartz.
And Bruce, it's action like this.
Whoa, so that was it.
Week after week.
Bobby Schwartz and Kelly Moran, their match race. And they were just amazing riders. Kelly Moran was just a crazy good rider in his day. So how's everybody doing today? We're doing good here at the Bumblebee Hive. And we're going to talk a little bit about Kelly Moran. Just an amazing rider. You saw the Wizard of Balance. I mean, this guy was good. He could balance that bike like no other. And he was born September 21st, 1960 in Lakewood, California. And Kelly was the older brother of Shawn. And here he is, Kelly, the older brother. And he just was only 1 year older than Shawn. And here's Shawn. He was born November 19th, 1961 in the same city of Lakewood, California. And in 1965, their dad and mom, they separated. And their father always wanted to have like a mini bike. And he quietly got the boys a mini bike. And without telling their mom, of course, they were going through possibly a separation or a divorce. And the papa, Mr. Moran, went ahead and got that mini motorcycle, hiding it from the mother. Probably bought that, without the mom knowing. And he bought the boys that mini bike, and they actually practiced behind the Kmart near their house. So the dad was out, the boys were sharing the mini bike, and they were practicing, just having a good time, just enjoying riding the mini bike behind that Kmart. And their father actually went to a motorcycle shop, and he met some guy that was a sponsor. And here's Mr. Moran. He was a real big supporter of the boys, and he actually got the Kelly and Shawn Moran their first sponsor. And they were just, great riders. And in the early 70s, you could actually see the Moran brothers racing all over at all the mini bike tracks, at the circuits, and especially at Saddleback Park. These guys were good. They were winning like everything. And the Moran brothers were just, they had a quest for winning. These guys were good, the Moran brothers. And they were winning races and mini bike championships. And they raced so much until they outgrew the mini bikes. And the natural progression was to motocross. They raced motocross. And when they were sliding the motocross bikes, they would high side the bikes and crash. So the Moran brothers, they actually would high side or low side the bike, and they would be crashing. They like to slide. And on the motocross bikes, you cannot slide. You have to go like jumping and stuff. You can't be sliding, or you crash on those bikes. And even though the Moran brothers weren't that good, they knew that they liked motorcycles, and they were looking to find some niche that they would like, because they knew that motocross was not really their number one niche. So the Moran brothers, their father kept looking for things to do. And one day the dad told the boys, like, hey, there's a motorcycle sport, and it's where they slide left, and there's a foot peg, and there's no brakes, and if they wanted to go to see the Speedway race that night. And the Moran brothers said, sure, why not? Motorcycle race, why not? So they went ahead and watched the Speedway race at the Costa Mesa Fairgrounds. And the boys were immediately hooked on the particular racing. And they were still racing the mini bikes at the time, Shawn and Kelly Moran. And they were doing really good. And they were racing with that. They had the dark green leathers with the white shirt top, the arm sleeve, with the clovers, the Irish clovers. The Moran brothers, they had the Irish in them, and the Moran. And I always remember them. They were just amazing riders. And they kind of liked the Speedway. They liked the mini bikes too. Here's Kelly going ahead and riding it hard. See that green uniform, the dark green with the white. It's really amazing, their outfit. The Moran brothers really had a beautiful outfit. And they decided they liked the Speedway because they'd only go like a couple, maybe a minute or so on a Speedway race. And the motocross races, they last like, oh gosh, the motocross races last like up to 30 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes. And the Speedway only lasts 1 minute on the Speedway bikes. But these Moran guys were really famous when they raced the mini motocross. They had sponsors. They had a beautiful Indian motorcycle. And they were sponsored by, they had Indian, and they just had all the nice stuff. And it was really nice. And when I was racing, I would always look at the Moran brothers because I used to race too at the Saddleback Park in Orange, California. And I would look over and I would see their beautiful green and white leathers with their helmet all beautifully painted. And it was just amazing. These guys, they really, they were decked up nice, and they had it. And I just had the old pants on, and then, my mom dropped me off, and I was just lucky to be there at the races and also have money for the racing. But anyways, they went ahead to the Speedway race, and they decided they liked that. And in 1974, their papa bought them their first Speedway bike, a junior Speedway bike. Yeah, that's right. And for the next 2 years, these young boys, they developed their skills and honed their skills as Speedway riders. Here's Rick Woods, the Rocket Rick Woods. And it's either their dad or it's Ed Schaefer, I'm not sure, coaching Shawn and Kelly Moran on the junior Speedway bike. And these guys were just amazing. They had 2 years on a junior Speedway bike. And they just, were really good. And in 1976, the Moran brothers, they started racing Speedway at the Costa Mesa Fairgrounds. And Shawn and Kelly, there's Shawn Moran right there. And they just were really good. They were like D1 riders all of a sudden because they had all that experience on a junior Speedway bike. And here's Kelly. Kelly just knew how to ride. That guy rocked and rolled, man. He was just good. And they were just really, really a sensational talent, Kelly and Shawn Moran. And in 1978, Kelly Moran, he actually moved to England, and he wanted to race in the British League. And one of his favorite riders was the world champion, the famous world champion, Ivan Major. He was actually an established rider at the time. He had won like 6 world championships, so I think everybody knew who Ivan was at that time. And Kelly actually wanted to go race with Ivan the Great Major. And so he moved over there, and he went ahead and raced on the Hull Vikings because Ivan Major was a Hull Viking at that time in 78. And he just went ahead and he wanted to learn from Ivan Major, the master Ivan Major. And no doubt he would become a champion like Ivan Major. And Ivan Major was on that team, and the boys wanted to join Ivan Major. Like, who wouldn't want to follow Ivan Major? So they went ahead, and Kelly was the first one to actually go over there and to follow Ivan Major. And the following year, in 1979, there was a young rider from California. His name was Dennis Sagalos. Siggy, do you know Dennis Sagalos? He was an amazing rider, and he was a Hall Viking at his first team in 79. Siggy went over there because of this man, Ivan Major. Ivan Major brought Siggy to the Speedway race, and Dennis Sagalos, he went ahead and he went there because Ivan Major was on the Hull Vikings, and Dennis Sagalos always loved Ivan Major. He told us on the live stream he went there not because of Kelly Moran, but he went there because of Ivan, the great Major. So Ivan was racing over on the Hull Vikings in 79. So that's exactly what happened. And the younger brother, this is kind of a funny story. The younger brother, Shawn Moran, which is pictured here on the far left, he actually joined in 79. And also Siggy on the far right, Dennis Sagalos, he joined in 79. And Shawn here on the left, he actually changed his name to David East. David East. So I guess Shawn didn't want anyone to know who he was, or maybe he was riding illegally, maybe too young. We're not sure. But the first year that Shawn raced for the Hull Vikings, his name was David East. So that was pretty funny. And so anyways, he changed his name so that nobody would know that Shawn Moran was Shawn Moran. That was pretty funny. So here we go, the 1979 Hull Vikings. And we have the Moran brothers and Siggy and Ivan Major. What a team. That was a good team. The Hull is up north. And I guess the riders, they had a long ways to go when they raced for Hull Vikings. They had to drive really far because I guess the Hull is at the very top of the... Hull is at the very top of England, and it's really far. So all the races, they had to actually drive really far when they raced for the Hull Vikings. And the riders kind of didn't like that because it was a lot of driving. And here it is. Also that in 1980, Shawn went ahead and changed his name back to his real name, which was Shawn Moran. He ditched the name of David West. No more David West. 1980, Shawn Moran was the real Shawn Moran. Will the real Shawn Moran please stand up? Well, he stood up all right, and he did a great job for the second season. And he raced pretty much part of the second season, and then Shawn Moran moved to the Sheffield Tigers. And he actually raced majority of his Speedway career for Sheffield, and that was pretty cool. And in 1980, Kelly Moran, which was just like a next year, he qualified for his first World Championship, and it was in Czechoslovakia. It was in Poland, and there was a four-way tie for third and fourth place, and fifth and sixth. There was a big, but it was actually a podium spot, and there was four riders competing for that one podium spot, and it was an incredible runoff, and it was between Michael Lee, Kelly Moran, the late Billy Sanders, and the great Ole Olsen. Do you know Ole Olsen? He was really good. And in that runoff, they had a four-way runoff for a podium spot on third place. And Michael Lee went ahead and won that third place podium spot. And Kelly Moran was second, so he actually got fourth place in that world final. And then you had the late Billy Sanders in fifth, and rounding it off, you had the great Ole Olsen in sixth place. So that's exactly how that turned out. And so anyways, that was it. Here is Kelly Moran representing the United States at the World Final. Look at all those people in the stands. I mean, there's thousands of people, like 90,000 people watching the Speedway race. And Kelly Moran was an amazing rider, represented the country really well. He was just a really great guy. and Kelly Moran was a true champion. And so the next year, actually, and what year was that? Next year, Shawn, the younger brother of Kelly, he won the European 21 and under national world champion. So they actually called it the European 21 and under championship at that time. But now they changed the name, so it's not that anymore. But at that time, he was the second American to win that championship. He had a maximum score. That means he won all of his races, which was really good for a 15-point maximum. So Shawn went ahead and he won his first championship, his 21 and under championship. They're doing a wheelie, crossing it up in the turn with a maximum of 15 points. Just an amazing rider. And so that was really great. And they were just really good riders. And also there was another rider that actually won the European 21 and under championship. And that was this guy, the amazing Ron Preston. Do you know Ron Preston? He was a good rider. And I actually knew Ron when he was racing before Europe. And he was just a really quality rider. And he won that championship in 1979. He was the first American winner of the European Championship, the 21 and under championship. So basically only it was Ron Preston and Shawn Moran that won. And here's Kelly Moran jumping on Ron Preston's back. I guess he was playing piggyback or something. Maybe they had a pillow fight or something that night. Who knows? But Kelly Moran, as you can see, was a really fun-loving guy. And he was just a great sport, fun guy. I mean, I guess if you're hanging around with Kelly Moran, you're having a lot of fun. He had this autobiography, Kelly Moran, and I guess he got pretty wild in his days, and it was crazy. And Max Romo was on the show, and he was telling me that he read that book, and he said, oh my gosh, they got wild and crazy in that day. And it was just really crazy and amazing, all the stuff that Kelly got into. So they were really good. And also in 1982 was actually a sad year in the American Speedway history. It was the year the amazing Denny Pyatt passed away in 1982 at Hackney. And he had a horrible crash. And the American World Cup team, they dedicated that championship, that team championship to Denny Pyatt. And they just, no matter what, it was led by Bruce Penhall and Bobby Schwartz. And they just really worked hard to win that championship. It was remember that video? It was a little controversial. Bruce Penhall made sure that they won that, and he went ahead and dogged it that last race for the team. Congratulations, America, and Bruce Penhall for being smart. I mean, you got to be smart to be a Speedway rider. And here's that team. And you can see Bobby Schwartz, he had that sign for Denny Pyatt. He had passed away earlier that year from the Speedway crash in Europe. So that American team was the first team, the World Cup team. It was Bruce Penhall, Bobby Schwartz, Scott Autry, the Moran brothers at the White City Stadium in London. So they were in London, and the American team brought home the bacon that year. That was just great. And so that American team won it for the fallen Denny Pyatt. And Kelly and Shawn Moran were instrumental riders as well as Penhall, as well as the whole team. And also Shawn actually won that World Team Cup another year, 1990. Here he is in 1990. He won that with his brother again, Kelly, Sud Sam Ermolenko, Billy Hamill, and Rick Miller. They went ahead and won that particular event. So they were a part of two of these World Cup teams, and that was really great. And they were just really good. The Moran brothers were just amazing riders. Here they are racing together in the World Team Cup. They were proudly representing America because they were really good riders. Actually, I think the Moran brothers were the best international Speedway team that there ever was. I mean, these guys were good. They were awesome. The Moran brothers were just simply one of the best. And They were just totally incredibly good, the Moran brothers. And so we had them. And then also back in 1983, actually it was 82, that Shawn Moran won his first United States Speedway Championship at the Costa Mesa Speedway. And that was his first and only United States Speedway Championship in 1982. And that was Shawn Moran. And so he did a really great job. He was racing in Europe, and he came back and he won that championship. And then the next year in 83, you had Kelly Moran on the left, I guess it is. Yeah, he won the next one in 83, the United States Championship at the Costa Mesa Speedway. So you had Shawn in 82, and then you had Kelly in 1983. That was pretty good. And then in 84, you had Kelly Moran. So they really, was amazing. And they just did a great job. These guys were really good. I mean, they really raced hard, and they were winning back-to-back. 83 and 84 was the years of Kelly Moran. So you had 82, Shawn Moran, and 83 and 84. It was Kelly Moran, the Miracle Man, the Wizard of Balance. This guy was good in his day. He was just fast as lightning, and he was really good. He learned a lot from the master Michael Bass. We talked about Michael Bass in one of the last shows, and Mike Bass was an amazing rider. And you can see young Kelly getting as much information as he could out of Michael Bass. So they were really good. And then there's just the Wizard of Balance. They called him the Wizard of Balance because he actually had good balance. One of the most natural riders ever in the sport of Speedway. Kelly Moran, the older brother, he actually could get on any Speedway bike anywhere and go out and win on that. He didn't need any practice or anything. If it was a Speedway bike, this guy could ride it. And it looks like Rick Miller and Fast Eddie Castro. Do you know Fast Eddie Castro? An amazing guy. And Kelly Moran there in the back. And they were hanging out in the early days together. And Kelly Moran was winning and passing guys on the inside. He was just a really amazing rider, Kelly Moran. And he just was a gifted rider. He was one of those naturals that didn't need practice. Most of the Speedway riders really need practice, and they need to work hard. But when you had Kelly Moran, he just knew how to ride the bike. He was just a superstar, and he needed no practice. And here's a program from the 85 United States Championship after Kelly won that championship in 84, celebrating. And they just went ahead and did just amazing job. And they were just really great riders, and just did really well. And Shawn won the world's long track championship in 1983. Shawn Moran was a long track world champion. He was really good. He beat out Yari Stencil and German's Karl Meyer for that particular championship. Shawn Moran was a long track champion. That's really cool. I mean, that guy was good. And Kelly rode for 6 British League teams. And here's Shawn. He was riding all over and winning. He was just a really great rider. Shawn was just one of the top riders ever. He won like championships over the Intercontinental Championship, the Overseas Championship. He won the British League Championship. He was a Riders' Cup champion, and he won the Peter Craven Memorial Cup Championship. And he was just really good. Shawn Moran was an incredible talent. He did really well. He just won everything, everywhere he went. And Kelly was not any different. He did the same. This was a really great brother team, and they did really good. And Kelly raced for 6 British League teams in his career. First was the Hull Vikings, like here. And then he raced for the Eastbourne team. Here he is racing for the Eastbourne team. And then he raced for Sheffield. and then he was racing for Bellevue, and he was racing for Swindon. And Kelly Moran was just racing for all these teams and doing really well. Also, Kelly Moran was really good friends with Kenny Carter. Kenny Carter, I found out, I was talking to Larry Costa, and he said that he didn't like much of the American riders, Kenny Carter, because he was fearful of these Americans beating him. And Kenny Carter just didn't like the Yankees very much, especially Penhall and other riders. And then I asked Larry Costa if he liked him, and he said, yeah, Carter liked me because I wasn't a threat to Kenny Carter. But guys like Kelly Moran were definitely a threat to Kenny Carter. But as you can see, Kelly Moran and Kenny Carter got along really well, and they hung out, and they were really good friends. So I guess Kelly Moran was such a nice guy that even Kenny Carter, who was kind of a bad guy of Speedway to some people, and some people loved Kenny Carter. And but Kenny Carter wasn't really fond of the Yankee riders, and Kenny Carter went ahead and took a liking to Shawn Moran. So that was pretty cool. So actually, that was just neat. He went ahead, and then, like I say, Shawn, he actually was in 3 World Finals, and he got 4th place all 3 World Finals, which is too bad he didn't get a podium spot. But finishing 4th place in 3 straight World Finals is no disgrace. That is pretty quality. I mean, I talk about consistent. Kelly Moran was definitely consistent on that, and he did really well. He won those 2 World Cup finals, for the American team, and he won U.S. Pairs Championship. He won that, and he won two United States Speedway Championships. He won the Ventura Track Championship. He won the he was, like I say, 2-time U.S. champion. He won the Bruce Penhall Classic Championship and the Spring Championship Classic at the Costa Mesa Speedway. So Kelly Moran was really doing well and winning a lot of races. And so the Moran brothers, they actually just had something special going on. And in 1976, they went ahead and joined the Sheffield Tigers in 1986, not 76, in 86. Here they are for the Tigers in Sheffield, the Moran brothers. They were just really incredible riders. Kelly rode for Sheffield for 3 years, and he gathered a whopping 1,012 points for the Sheffield Tigers. And Kelly's average was 8.88 for the 3 years, almost 9 points per meet. So Kelly Moran was a 9-point rider for 3 years on the average, and that was pretty sensational. Kelly Moran was really a good rider. And then you had Shawn Moran. He raced for Sheffield for like 9 years. He raced a long time for Sheffield. And he missed a total of 3,257 points with the Sheffield Tigers. And his average was really good. And he did really well, 9.36 average, 9.5 for 9 years. I mean, Kelly Moran averaged almost 9, and his brother averaged almost 9.5 points for 9 years. So the Moran brothers were really sensational. These guys were really good. And so Kelly Moran and Shawn Moran will definitely go down as some of the all-time classic riders, great riders in American Speedway history. They were just classics and great. And I got a chance to meet Kelly and hang out with Kelly at the Speedway races at the Costa Mesa Speedway in 2008. It was only like a couple years before his passing. And I heard what a kind and gentle soul that Kelly Moran was. And Kelly Moran was he's really an amazing rider and a good guy. And he just was good. When Kelly raced, he went ahead and he would give his trophies to like people, and he was really a good guy. Kelly Moran he would see children and he would give his trophies away just to be nice. And he was just a good guy. And everyone liked Kelly Moran because he was just a really good person. And Kelly Moran said something to me. He said he was just a nice guy. You know, Kelly Moran made people feel good. And that's one of the qualities that Kelly Moran actually had. He told me one day in the pits at Costa Mesa, Brian, you're my favorite rider out of all the riders at Costa Mesa today. So Kelly Moran made me feel good. And I'm like, the favorite rider? I'm not the best. But to have Kelly Moran talk nice words about you, you know, that was cool. And Kelly Moran was just such an amazing champion. Everybody really loved Kelly Moran. He was just really good. And Kelly Moran, he just, you know, here's Kelly Moran before his passing. Here we go.
Hey, Howie. Terry.
Hey, Howie.
David.
Hey, Howie.
Hey, this guy, huh? Tell your fans how you feeling, brother.
I'm feeling good, thank you. Well, compared to you guys, I guess a lot better than. Okay. Doing good. So, on the road back. Brother.
Tomorrow night is the Moran Brothers deal up at Victorville. I know you can't make it. You got anything to say to those guys?
I just hope everybody has a good time and stuff. And don't know, say thank you, Steve Evans. I recollect that's in order. Thank you, Steve Evans, and I hope everybody has a fun and safe time. And I'll let you guys get at it from there.
Now you got a new place down the beach, huh? You're a beach guy again?
Yes, it's nice and it's quiet. It's rather private, which makes it all the more nicer. My family knows where I'm at and stuff, so.
Well, you come and visit this guy? He comes and visits you all the time, huh?
Yeah, we get him out of there and break him out and get him on over here and gets a little fresh air and some sunshine. And haven't got any dancing girls quite yet over here, but we're working on it. Just kidding. No, it's great to see Kelly. He's doing really, really good. He's making great strides, and from when he started his journey lately, he's really come along well. And I think he feels more at home where he's at, and I think that's a good thing for him. That he's still, you know, you got to thank the guys all along the way, from Ron Preston to Rick Bradford to Pete Robozzini and Bruce Penhall, and just all his friends and all the prayers from all over the world that have been coming in still. And it's really helping out and doing a great thing for Kelly. And I mean, here's today, David Taylor and Terry Ike Clanton showed up here. Terry had his way to have him down at the Tombstone. That's right. Yeah, so it's good. And thanks, Howie, for stopping by today and checking us all out.
All right, Kelly, all the best. Anything you want to say?
I just have to say ditto to what Bobby said. Exactly, Bobby has my exact thoughts and sentiments towards everybody around the world for keeping good thoughts with me and stuff. And thank you very much. And hopefully, Jelly Man will look even better next time you see me without his glasses.
Right on, Jelly.
Kelly's gonna have plastic surgery.
Oh.
Okay, that was Kelly Moran, and he just was an amazing human being. He was a fighter all the way to the end, and Kelly Moran just always was a tough guy as far as, like, he just didn't give up. He just had a good spirit about him, Kelly Moran. And he went ahead and he had a problem, a health problem. You could see his health was degenerating. That was actually shortly before Kelly's passing away. He was a chain smoker, which we like to admonish everybody not to smoke cigarettes because it's very bad for your health, right? And he actually passed away because of his smoking on April 4th, 2010. He passed away at the age of 49 from complications of emphysema. And Kelly Moran was really missed by all. And here's Kelly right before his passing with Speedway Billy. And Speedway Billy was really a good guy. He was a part of the American Speedway, and Speedway Billy was just he was like our mascot when we raced. And Kelly Moran embraced Speedway Billy, and they both have passed away since then. Rest in peace, Speedway Billy and Kelly Moran. They're just really two great guys. And, the Speedway world was really saddened by the loss of Kelly Moran. And it was just really a devastating blow and really sad that Kelly Moran had left us so early at only the age of 49. And they had a big public memorial, and it was really cool at the Costa Mesa Speedway. And they did that because it was like a week later on April 10th, 2010, at the Costa Mesa Speedway. And among those who attended and they gave speeches for Kelly were his former teammates Bruce the Fox Penhall, Bobby Boogaloo Schwartz, Dennis Siggy Sigalos, Ron Preston, John Cowboy Cook, and there was a message from Ivan Major to Kelly Moran, which were teammates, remember, in 1978 when Kelly first went over to the Hull Vikings. Ivan Major was a friend of Kelly's and a teammate, and they had a memorial, a beautiful memorial for Kelly, and there was about, I think, 300 people or so in the stands, and they had all these amazing legends and friends honor the memory of Kelly Moran that night, and it was just really good. And the Moran brothers were just simply great. Kelly Moran was the Wizard of Balance, and he just was incredible. If you do yourself a favor and watch some of Kelly Moran's races, they were really good. And he was a member of the team World Cup team with the Team USA, with the Penhall and Schwartz, and they just really did a great job for America. Both had highly successful Speedway careers, and both were living legends of American Speedway. Rest in peace, brother Kelly Moran on the right-hand side. So he just was just an amazing rider, and he touched the lives of so many people. Kelly Moran was just a really great guy, and he just was a good human being, and everybody liked him. He was a little wild at times, and he smoked a lot, which was bad. Ended up costing his life, so that was pretty bad. The cigarette smoking was really bad for Kelly Moran, but he was just an amazing person, a really good and talented rider. I mean, the Moran brothers were just the 1-2 knockout punch. And when I did the best brother team combination, the Moran brothers won the best international team that was on the Speedway. And Michael and Steve Bass won the best American team that raced in America, because the Bass brothers are simply, the best American riders team, brother team, and the Moran brothers. And probably you would have Jack Milne and Cordy Milne back in 37 and the 30s. They're pretty good too. So we have the Moran brothers and the Milne brothers were probably two of the greatest brother combination teams ever in Speedway, United States Speedway history. They were just true living legends. We really love Kelly Moran, and like I said, his good heart. Everybody was sad at his passing. Here's Dennis Sigalos, I believe, honoring number 31. Kelly Moran's number was 31. It was 131, and then it was 31. And Siggy really loves Kelly Moran, as well as everybody loves Kelly Moran. He just was a great guy, a great rider, and he really loved America. He loved his country, and as well as all the rest of the riders who rode for Team America. When they put on those red, white, and blue stripes, the riders really, they wanted to perform well for their country. And they were just, and here's Scott Autry and Sigalos and Penhall and Shawn and Kelly Moran. These guys were just legends. They had some of the greatest team racing in American history. And Kelly and Shawn Moran were part of it. You just had these great American teams, and they were just super quality teams. And they were all just really good teams, good riders. And we can't get that picture off the screen. We're working on that. So we're trying to get that picture off, but we can't do that. So hopefully we can do that. And so the Moran brothers were great. We honor and respect Kelly Moran. And we just go ahead, and we're just so grateful for the chance we had to get to know these guys. There I am. Sorry about that. I was trying to get out of that picture and I clicked myself out. So I did that one. I apologize. But we really had a good time talking about the Morans, Kelly and Shawn Moran. And they were just, like I say, some of the most incredible speedway riders of our time, the brothers. And we just, really honor and respect them. Like I said, Kelly had a heart of gold. He was a good person. He would come up to you and just make you feel good. And he just was a really great guy. Shawn, I don't really know Shawn that well, so, I can't really say exactly. He seems like a fairly reserved, quiet guy and a good guy, too. We'd love to have Shawn Moran on the show. That would be really great to talk to Shawn and see how he's doing and talk to him about his earlier days as a speedway rider, because Shawn Moran and Kelly Moran were really the legends. They started off in those early days at the Saddleback Park, those young days when they were just kids, when they were just young guys at the racetrack. They had those cute trophy girls. I think that's a girl. It's not a boy, I think. And they were just good riders when they were young. They raced those mini cycles at Saddleback. They were sponsored by the Indian Motorcycles. They started off kind of really good, and then they were racing at the Hull Vikings. The brothers joined, and they were members with Ivan Major. I mean, that's a great tutorage with Ivan Major. And Kelly was a proud American, and he honored his country well. He respected America. And Shawn was a long track speedway champion and an under 21 champion. So Shawn was just a truly amazing rider. And they both won United States Speedway Championships. 82 was Shawn's good year for as a champion. And 83 and 84 was older brother Kelly's turn to be national champion. And they were just really quality riders. And they were just gifted as all could be. And the Moran brothers will always be remembered as one of the greatest speedway brother teams in history. So thank you so much for watching the Moran brothers. We pay respects to Kelly, rest in peace. And we go ahead and we're so grateful for them coming into our lives. And we wish Kelly would have been around a little longer, but that didn't happen. So don't smoke cigarettes, okay? Smoking cigarettes is bad for your health. And so we appreciate you joining us tonight for the live stream of the Morans. These guys were talented, amazing, and they were gifted. Like I said, Kelly could just get on any speedway bike and win a race. He just had that gift. A lot of speedway riders and motorcycle riders have to kind of be developed, and they have to have practice. But Kelly Moran was just a natural speedway rider, and he could win pretty much any time. So thank you so much for joining us tonight at the Beehive and talking about the Moran brothers. They were just really gifts of God, and we really honor and respect them. And they are true legends of the American Speedway. And so thank you once again for joining us, and stay on two wheels, no crashes. And thank you so much. We're going to do another show. We have a lot of guests coming up this next week. We have Aaron Fox. We have Reese. We have Reese Todd. We have just so many guys coming up in the Hive. Maybe we'll have Max Romo come back for an interview. Like maybe get his brother. And we have just a ton of guys. We have the promoter of Fast Fridays, David Joyner, coming. We have the announcer of Fast Fridays. We just have so many people coming on the show. So hang in there with us. We're having a good time here in the Hive. We've been busy the past few days, so we haven't been able to do our regular stream at the regular time. But we're going to get on schedule this next week, and we're going to have some really great shows. So stay with us for some Speedway, and we're going to talk about United States Speedway. They have a big race coming up this weekend at the Paris Speedway. We're going to go ahead and talk about that. It's the Best Pairs Championship. You have Luke Becker, and you have Brock Nickel teaming up, and you have, the Romo brothers, and you have just an amazing talent pool of all these American riders. They're coming up just in a couple days, and we're going to check that out. And we're going to see who wins. It's really a star-studded field of great American Speedway riders, and it's happening at the Paris Speedway. Steve Evans is promoting that Best Pairs Championship of the United States. So stay tuned for that. Should be a really great event. And you can watch that race live at ExtremeSpeedwayAction.com for like $20. You can watch that live event for the Best Pairs, the United States. We have Speedway going on in the United States at the Paris Raceway. And Bakersfield is coming up in a few weeks. So they're coming up, they have a season starting. So there's some Speedway going on. And we're still waiting for Costa Mesa, Industry, and Fast Fridays to see what they're going to do. Because they're government-owned kind of tracks, we have to wait for them. But Steve Evans has some private tracks, and they're opening up in full race season this year of 2021. So it's exciting. Thank you, Steve Evans, for that. And thank you, riders, for just getting off your butts and having a good time, getting some seat. Everybody wants to ride. And so that gives the riders some really good quality seat time. At the Bakersfield coming up, the long track. It's like European track. It's really long and fast. And then Paris is not as long, but it's still pretty fast. So we're excited to see what happens in the Best Pairs. And we have some great shows coming up. Maybe we'll recap the Best Pairs. And we're going to do some really fun shows. So hang in there with us and enjoy this next week, because we have a lot of great guests. We have Penhall coming back for more. We have Siggy coming back for more. And we're trying to get Mike Bass to come on the show. And he doesn't do interviews. So we're praying that we can, have 5 minutes with the legend Mike Bass. But we just have some great shows. Thank you so much for joining us today. The Moran Show, Shawn and Kelly Moran. These guys were just the greatest riders ever. And they're natural talents. And they're both equally as good. There was really nobody better than each other, because the Moran brothers were both equally amazing riders and quality, first-class guys. And so we honor and respect Kelly Moran also. And he had passed away in 2010, April 4th. So anyways, rest in peace, Kelly. And we all love you and respect you and honor the memory of the late, great Kelly Moran. Thank you so much for joining us at the Hive, everybody. And we'll look forward to seeing you next show. Have a great one. Take care.